Hey everyone, welcome to another training video. Today I'm going handheld with the camcorder here, and we are going to go, if I can get this straight, we're going to go over some of the smartboard basics. So just in case you ever use this thing, which hopefully you all will at some point, you know at least some of the basics. So we'll see how this goes. I'll try not to make you give you motion sickness, but it's a great piece of technology. It's an incredible thing, and really it's pretty easy to use. So first things first, the power strip needs to be plugged in first. All right, and you got to make sure it's on. Obviously it should stay on, but you'll know it's on by the light being on. Next thing is the computer. So basically, to kind of help you understand, all this is a massive computer screen. This is the computer, this is the brain. All right, so just like if you had a desktop at home, this would be your, the computer itself, and then this would be the monitor. Now the only thing about the smartboard obviously is it's an interactive monitor. You can touch it, it's massive, it's awesome. So turning on the computer, there's a button right in the back here, so I'll show it to you. See the little power button right there next to the white cord. So I'm gonna press that on. You'll hear that little Mac noise. All right, so the computer is booting up. Now turning the smartboard on is real easy. You've got these buttons down here. This moon on the far side is basically the display on and off. So once it lights up white, you'll know that it's on. The smart screen will come on. It might say no signal just for a moment while the Mac boots up, so we'll give it a second. While that's booting up, again, just like a regular computer, we have a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse, both of which you can use at any time. All right, so what I would do, you can use your hand to touch this, but you can also use the mouse. So what I'm going to do is make sure the mouse is turned on. So see this button right here, if I turn it up, it's green, and you'll see the little light go on. So the mouse is connected, and I'm going to click on, there's two logins here. We want to click on the smartboard login. Okay. So click on smartboard, and it's going to ask for a password, and I'm going to tell you right what it is, all right? And I'm just going to type it right on here. It's Faith Smart, all lowercase. So FAITHSMART. Hit enter. And now it's logging in. It's logged on. So, a couple of the basics. First of all, anytime you want to write anything, it is literally as easy as picking up a marker and doing it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead just right here, if I can hold this thing right. I'm going to go ahead and write my name. And as soon as I start writing, now I'm writing left-handed, so don't make fun of me here. Right when I start writing, it'll open up a little note for me to start writing on. Now if I'm on like a website or something and I start writing, it won't make that notebook. I can just write right on top of it. But if I'm writing on the desktop, it'll make a new note. But basically, this little thing right here is my toolbar. So let me see if I put the marker down for a second, and let me just interact with this toolbar a little bit. These are all the basic functions right here. Okay, so the mouse. If I just want to simply use my finger to be like a mouse, right? So I have the little arrow. It's just like I'm using a mouse, all right? Right? It's acting just like a mouse, right? Okay, I'm just clicking. I can move it. I could double click it and open it, all right? So that's if I want to use my finger as a mouse, which can be helpful, especially if you want to move something, minimize something. So when I get the marker out, it's no longer on the mouse because it's on the marker. All right. So wherever I go with this, it's going to just simply mark up. All right. It's not going to work the same as a mouse. I can still X out of these things with the marker if I want, but this is not going to act like a mouse. Like I can't go over here and start dragging something. It's going to act as a marker. So hopefully that makes sense. But even if you have your marker and you want to use your marker, you start writing something and then you figure, well, I don't want to put the marker down. I can select with the marker, I can select the arrow, so now my marker acts as a mouse, just like my finger was before. So you can use your finger for the mouse. You can also use your finger to be a marker. So basically you can have up to 4 markers going up here. 1, 2, and then you can have 2 more fingers be 3 and 4. So if somebody's already using the red and black markers, I can take my finger and I can be an orange marker. And I start writing with my finger and boom, there it is, orange. If you can see that, that's orange. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the mouse. So you can have more than 2 people drawing on the board at the same time. So 2 people with markers, you can have another 2 people. Just make sure that say two kiddos are using the markers, just have one of the other kiddos touch one of these colors, and then they can use their finger to draw. Okay, so besides the mouse and the 2 pens, I'm not going to go over the magic pen. You can mess with that sometimes. There's a lot of fun things you can do with that, but I'm not going to go into that right now. We have the shade. So the shade is something that blocks any part of the screen that you want it to. This is getting out of focus. Okay, so say that I'm on a website and I've got a game or a story going on or something, but on the bottom of the page there's some ads. And I don't want anybody clicking on those ads. So what I can do is use the shade. I'm just going to drag this down here. Come on, there we go. And say I drag it to the bottom part of the screen. So now the shade is covering that bottom part of the screen, and all that the participants can see is what they should be looking at, which is on the top of the screen. And then to close out, just make sure you got the mouse, right? And you click on the red dot. All right, so here's what I didn't show you about the eraser. This is really cool. So if I'm writing something, all right, the back part of the pen acts as an eraser, so I can literally track back over it and it'll erase it just like that. Now it's a pretty small eraser, so something else I can do is actually use my fist, and that'll make it a bigger eraser. So if I use my fist on the screen, it acts as an eraser, which is super cool. One other trick that you can do with the eraser, say I've got a big drawing right there. If the whole board is a mess and I just want to erase it all, here's one trick. I'm going to take the eraser side of the pen and I'm going to make a circle around the whole thing and tap in the middle. So let's give it a try. Boom, there you go. Okay. So different ways you can erase. And if you want to change any of the settings on the eraser, see, that was the last thing I was using, so it's highlighted. I can click on it, and there's different sizes. You can get smaller to bigger. Anyway, that's not a big deal. A lot of fun stuff you can do with the eraser even. Okay, the highlighter, let me just show you what that is real quick. Say I want to highlight some words on the screen. Again, I can use a pen and select it, or I can use my finger and select this. So I'm going to use my finger and say there are some words up here and I want to highlight it. That's what the highlighter does. Piece of cake. All right, and then again, we don't really need to use the keyboard very much because we have one. But if you want somebody to type something, here you go. Here's your keyboard, and you can type right on the screen too. And then the last thing, 2 programs. I'm going to go back over to the mouse so I can pull this up and then show you also from kind of further away. If you're not familiar with a Mac, most of your programs are in what's called the dock, which is at the bottom of the screen. Our dock is hidden, so what you need to do, if you can see where the mouse is, you got to drag the mouse to the bottom of the screen and boom, there the dock pops up right there. Okay? So the only programs that we're really using on here is Notebook, which is that blue one right there, and then possibly sometimes Safari, which is basically your Internet Explorer. Okay? So those are the 2 main programs. So all you really need to know is for Notebook, I'm going to open up Notebook. Notebook is like a big empty notebook, is why it's called Notebook. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Notebook, but at the end of the day, if somebody just simply wants to draw or write something, you say, I just want a white screen so I can draw some stuff. Notebook is the place to do it, okay? So if you just want a blank screen to draw on, Notebook, open Notebook. So over here on the right side of Notebook is it's kind of like PowerPoint. So say that I'm drawing all over Notebook, okay, and I've got this big fancy page, and I don't want to erase it, but I want a fresh new page. Instead of just erasing, I can just make another page. All right, so down here on the bottom, this is where you add a new page. All right, so I'm just going to click that, and boom, now I have 2 pages. Now if I want to go back to that one, I just click on it. There it is. But if I want my new blank page to write something else on, I can do that. All right. And say somebody's drawn on there and they want to save their work, just like a computer. I'll go up here, hit File, Save, and then I can save it. Let's just save most of this stuff. We can just save it right to the desktop. So you click on Desktop. You can use the mouse to type in whatever you want to call it and save it there. Because we can even do other cool stuff with it, from there is, print it out, send it home, do whatever. But just to show you what Notebook does.